Hi, Sharon Brennan here, Cottage Lane Stamper. Busy working on my calendars for the Christmas season as gifts. And I came up with an idea this morning. Um, let's see, what did I do with that? There it is. I've been doing, my last month I used a lot of coloring with my colored pencils and my blender pens, and the design was not simple, but the design was simple, but the coloring was a lot. So it took me 8 hours to color 50 calendar sheets. And this month I wanted to do something different, and I had an idea using my blender pen and ink refills and glycerin. So there's two different ways I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this month. Um, I've used glycerin before with a sponge, so I've never tried it with a blender brush. So what we're going to do is put a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to try to move these out of the way in that way. Put a little bit of my clear block here. And this is the way I used to do it with my sponges. If you remember our sponges that we would get, and they'd be big and round, and you'd cut them in sixes, and you'd end up with triangles. Anyway, I'm just going to take a little bit like this. And this technique works really good with sponging your background. So just sponging the background, and then if you take your another blender brush and put it in your ink, it makes a really smooth effect when you're sponging. So I've tried that, and that's always worked really well. For some reason, the glycerin makes the ink just flow over the top. Well, this morning I thought, well, I didn't want to do watercolor pencils and my alcohol markers, the Stampin' Up! Blends. When I do 50 of these, they go dry. So I was trying to think of something else. So I took a little bit of glycerin, and I was looking for my eyedropper, but I couldn't find it. And so I found this. It's actually a dispenser used for giving babies medicine. So I drew some of that up. I actually just poured a little bit in the lid. And then if I had an eyedropper, I would do the same thing, but I just drew a little bit up, and I put like 10 drops in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then poured the rest back in the bottle. And I have these painter's pellets, or whatever you call them. I have several of them. I got them at the dollar store many years ago, I think. And then I would just add, I'm just going to add some more orange, just because I may use that up when I'm doing 50. So I'm going to add 1 drop of my pumpkin pie reinker to that. And then I'm going to stamp a design. Ooh, I'm going to get this out of here because this is kind of flowing all over the place. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. I can find the right ink pad here. So I'm using my Stamparatus. I know these aren't available. I've seen them on Facebook and eBay for anywhere from $65 to like $100 and some dollars for the same thing. So I'm just going to stamp a little image there, a little pumpkin. And then I'm going to take my blender pen, and I've got one end that I'm using for orange, or blender, yeah, blender pen. And one end I'm using for orange, and the other end I'm using for the green. So I'm just going to mix that up a little bit, and I'm just coloring with it. And this is going to make my, so I can make it as dark as I want to. And this does dry fairly fast. And this is a little bit faster than using watercolor pencils. And you have an endless amount of, well, as much as in your bottle of reinker and in your glycerin. Glycerin you can just get at like the grocery store in the cooking section, or I think Walmart has it. So then when I have my little marker, well, these have gone to clearance, but you could do the same thing with the green. You could put some green in here and just color in that. It's a little bit broad. I think I need to use this other end here. So anyway, that was just a couple ideas. Oh, and if you don't have something like this, a tray, use the top from a water bottle, and you can just throw it away when you're done. So that's kind of like my tip for 2 ways to use glycerin when you're coloring. And I'd like to hear if you try this, and if it works for you. Oh, I used Memento ink to stamp with, and it doesn't seem to bleed or anything. So and I'd like to know if you try this and how it works for you. So anyway, thanks for stopping in, and I'm going to get on to my coloring now. Have a good day. God bless you.